Is this Missouri bourbon really as good as Kentucky? We're going to have to call in some help on this one.
Let's do this.
All right, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, known for basketball, horses, and what else? Bourbon. So is there a bourbon better than a Kentucky bourbon?
I know Texas has some pretty good bourbon.
I've had some bourbon from Florida. They typically age in smaller barrels, but they're very good.
I've had bourbon from Oregon and from Florida and from Indiana, and the answer is nope.
Yeah, I remember. I'm thinking about that bourbon we tried from New York that just didn't fly here in the turret. Yeah. But to help us figure out if Missouri makes a worthy bourbon, we brought in superfan Chuck. Would you introduce our special guest for today?
So Gary Harrelson has been living in the St. Louis area for, I don't want to give your age away, but like a quarter century
At least, yeah.
What do you do there?
I'm the multimedia director at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch newspaper there, and I cut my teeth at the Gleaner when I was a little snotty-nosed high school kid. Worked with this guy, and matter of fact, before I even had a driver's license, he and Tom Caudle and other people would take me around to my assignments. And so, but anyway, I got into photojournalism. I've worked in 4 or 5 different states and Jackson, Tennessee, which I didn't realize
All
that
right.
we actually crossed paths there. And
We did.
Didn't realize it, but yeah, I oversee photo, video, and podcasting there at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
And I think you're our very first top fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got that right before Christmas, and I'm like, I'm not sure what this is, but I'm gonna accept it anyway. So
It's the gift that just keeps on giving.
I know, right?
Or the Jelly of the Month Club.
That's right.
And I believe you have taken some recommendations from us about some whiskeys to try.
Of course, yeah. I've learned a lot.
And maybe some distilleries to visit.
Yes, yeah. I've been to Casey Jones, MD Roland. Peerless is probably my favorite, mostly because of the Henderson connection to it.
Right.
I met Corky about 4 years ago, about 3 years ago after COVID hit. He was walking down the street on Water Street, so there was some event going on down there. Had a bottle of Blanton's in his hand. Of course, I stopped him. I didn't know who he was at the time. And so, but we got to talking, and and he gave me a card, told me who he was, and so we chatted a little bit. Told him I was from St. Louis, and so make a long story short, we toured Peerless back in April of this year, and ended up buying 4 bottles of the single barrel that they had, and had them autograph them. So I've got
Nice.
Yeah, I've got 3, actually 1 bottle left, but
You dropped the other 3 of them.
right. No, I gave 1 away as a gift, and gave 1. Actually, I was going to put 1 back for my new grandchild. So when she turns 21.
So when you're not drinking bourbon, or maybe while you're drinking bourbon, you also have a couple of other hobbies. You're into a little barbecue. Is that right?
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything, actually. I smoke meats, coming from my Jackson, West Tennessee roots.
3 Little Pigs.
The West Tennessee style of smoking meat.
They know something about barbecue down there.
Just a little bit. Yeah,
My gosh.
just a little bit.
Naked with sauce on the side. That's all I
it.
can say, man.
Yeah, but St. Louis is actually has blown up now, probably since about 2010 with barbecue, and it used to be Kansas City, but right. I think St. Louis actually has the corner on barbecue.
I remember when I lived there, Pappy's was the big thing. That was the place to go to downtown.
And that's what Pappy's is the grandfather.
Smoked meats. We're not talking about bourbon.
We're talking about
right. There you go. Right. Yeah. So Pappy's, I call Pappy's the grandfather of barbecue in St. Louis because they're the ones who actually got it going, because the Food Network came in and did a big story on it. Yeah. So it blew up from there, and now we have tons and tons of amazing barbecue places in St. Louis. So, but I freelance it. I just do it on my own, and I've been smoking meat since I graduated from high school, and been doing it ever since. So
Gary Harrelson, Renaissance man, here in the turret. Love it. So, Aaron, we're going to find out if Missouri bourbon can match or keep up, or maybe even exceed Kentucky bourbon.
Yep.
How are we going to do that?
So we've got a blind in front of us. As you can see, normally we would have our bottles out here on the table, and there are no bottles because we don't want to be influenced. We got a pour on the left and we got a pour on the right. Both of them are bottled in bond. I know the one from Missouri is coming in at 6 years, and the one from Kentucky is somewhere around the same age. But we've got a bottled in bond from Missouri. We got a bottled in bond from Kentucky.
Well, that's a 10-year. It's a 10-year.
It's 10 year. All right.
Henry
So the
McKenna.
one from Kentucky is going to be just a little bit older. Don't want to influence your nose or anything,
The
but
colors are very similar.
very, very similar. They're both sour mash process. So this is going to be a little bit older for the one in Kentucky. But other than that, we're going to be able to hopefully pick out the winner.
So we're going to start with the left, then go to right.
Going to pick on the left and go to the right.
Let's take a little nose of the left.
Left, classic nose.
Oh, man.
It smells good.
Smooth.
Vanilla,
No ethanol.
caramel.
You know, all the typical bourbon notes.
Yep,
Classic,
everything you would
classic,
get. Yep. So, Gary, while we're tasting this, I'm a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan. You said St. Louis Dispatch. Like, do you get a ring and stuff too? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, you know, our marketing department used to sell these promotional rings to fans. You know, they were actually replicas of Super Bowl of World Series rings, and I got those.
Are they plastic or gold?
No, actually they're metal.
They're metal.
Yeah, I've got a whole set of them at home on my TV stand. So
Now, I'd really like to be able to tell you I've never had a Missouri bourbon ever in my life, except that there was this one time, like 30 minutes ago, when I forgot to hit the record button, and we had probably the best episode we've ever recorded the best episode we didn't record.
That's it.
So hopefully we'll be able to change things up. We got some different pours here, so we couldn't tell what we had. But let me ask you, Chuck, what do you think about this first
I
one?
like it a lot.
Pretty good stuff.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
I don't recognize it at all. Little bit of burn, might be a little higher proof.
There you go.
Not real sure. I don't think I've had either of these bourbons before. So, but I'm liking the left. I'm liking number one.
All right, Brian, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, one. I mean, it's okay. It's been a while since I've had Henry McKenna 10-year. At the time, I really enjoyed it. I've drank a lot of bourbon since then, though, so my palate's changed a lot.
So
I'm
the
not sure.
Kentucky contender is Henry McKenna 10-year.
It is, and then
Okay.
against Ben Holiday 6-year BIB.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't think I knew that Henry McKenna was actually the other contender. I've had it before. I have a friend who's a big fan. I was not a big McKenna fan myself. I'm liking number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Aaron, what do you think?
I like it. It's standard bourbon.
Yeah.
Not a lot of burn. I mean, like Brian said, all the bourbon notes that you would expect from a typical bourbon. It's nothing that I would pay too much for. I'd probably pay $45 for
Is this
it.
a Chevy Silverado bourbon
Yeah.
version for you?
Yeah,
Gets the
not a
job
Denali.
done. Is
it
Yeah.
two-wheel drive?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, Gary, what do you think about this first one? You like that nose?
you know,
like the
I do
taste?
like the nose a lot, and it's got a bit of a burn for me, and I think I probably like it better with maybe an ice cube.
Okay.
I agree.
Just to kind of
We are trying all these
smooth it
neat.
out a little bit, but but yeah, the nose is wonderful, and the flavor is really nice.
Cool. Well, should we try the one on the right?
Let's try the one on the right.
I don't think you said what you thought of the first one, or did I miss that?
I think it's middle of the road. Good. Would I buy a bottle of this? I don't know that I would have bought a bottle of the one on the left. I think it's a good, solid bourbon that I enjoy, but I don't know that I would go back to when there's so many good bourbons out there.
It seems like the ethanol for me kind of comes through when I take that taste. It kind of comes through my nose a little bit.
I wish you could see the smile on Aaron's face.
Well,
Is that a good smile?
yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, I like this one.
Okay, on the second one, I'm getting ethanol, but I'm also getting fruit.
Yes.
Same here.
Yeah.
Cherry. There's cherry fruit. So, Gary, while we're sipping and pouring this one, I'll ask you another question.
Sir.
What bourbon got you into the bourbon game? Like, what was the one pour that you had that said, "Yep, I'm going to drink this"?
I love it.
Yeah, for me it was Blanton's about
All right,
2009.
Just kidding.
We were on a riverboat cruise back in about 2009 or 2010 in New Orleans, and we had they had a bar on the riverboat, and Blanton's was their house bourbon. And
Their house?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a long time.
I think
ago.
09.
Wow.
And so I I'd never had it before, and probably until that point I was probably drinking cheap bourbon, and just probably never really had a decent quality bourbon, but it just knocked me off my feet when I tasted it. The caramel, the notes came out. It just blew me away. So I kind of hold everything to that standard now.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of, if I get that reaction like I did with Blanton's, is for me it's like it's going to be a good bourbon.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Blanton haters out there these days, and I think part of it is because it used to be so available, and now it's so hard to find and expensive and treasured. I think there's some resentment. I like Blanton's just fine. I've always liked Blanton's.
Well, Chuck,
Hey.
when you work at a liquor store and every single day you got to deal with the guy that walks in and says, "Can I help you find anything?" "Yeah, where's the Blanton's?" Man, we hadn't had Blanton's on the shelf in 15 years. I'm sorry, it's
Right.
not there.
So I think Blanton's is just fine.
I get that. I'm a customer.
Yeah.
I remember the old days when you didn't have to ask for it; it was just there.
It was right there.
And Blanton's was fine. It
Yeah.
was a-okay.
I think it's fine.
Tell you
I
what.
enjoy Blanton's every once in a while. But let me tell you, this one on the right,
Ooh, I'm liking
I
this.
would rather have this than
Number
Blanton's any
two.
day of the week.
This is very good.
This is awfully
You like
nice.
that one,
Yeah.
Brian?
I think I'm about to eat some crow here.
And
If I
there's
had
a
to
cherry
guess-
note to it.
If I had to guess, and I will start this with saying Aaron was wrong on the first one that wasn't recorded. So I'll go first this time, just in case I am wrong. I think this is Henry McKenna.
You
think
think
this is-
the one on the right,
The one on the right is Henry McKenna.
Number two.
Okay. I'm going to be surprised if that's the case. But
like it.
you know a lot more about bourbon than I do.
It's smoother than one. It doesn't have as much burn for me.
Well, standing just off camera is the lovely Donna Stennett. Donna, can you tell us what the one on the left is? So thanks to the lovely Donna Stennett, we now know that the one on the left, the one that we thought was good but not maybe above our expectations, is the Missouri Holiday, and the one on the right is the McKenna. All right, does that surprise you there, Brian?
No, it doesn't. Reminds me of the Tyson Holyfield fight. It's a fair fight until Tyson could use his teeth. So, I kind of figured McKenna would win.
Yeah. Well, you think that's an age statement kind of thing?
I think it's just the age of it. It takes out some of those imperfections of the product, as it ages longer. That's why most Kentucky straight bourbons are at least 4 years old. If they're not, they have to be age stated on the bottle. And I think that's the reason.
All right. Aaron, does this surprise you at all?
It does. But if I were playing the buy a bottle, buy a pour, or leave it on the shelf, I'm going to buy a bottle of this one.
Which is this one? You're
The
talking
one on the
about?
left, the Missouri.
You like the one?
Nice.
Yeah.
know,
I absolutely
I
enjoy
probably
it.
would buy a bottle of both of these just if nothing else. How many times have we said it's all about the experiences? Having these two bourbons with you gentlemen today is just so much fun. And I'll remember it forever. And I want a bottle to remember what we drank today. And I will definitely give McKenna another shot.
Yeah,
'Cause I'd written it off.
Henry McKenna, in my mind, is redeemed. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, here's my thing with Henry McKenna. I would buy a bottle of Henry McKenna at $45.99.
Mhm.
$72.99, what it's gotten to. I'm buying.
All right.
Now, the bottle from Missouri is 59-ish.
I think it's like $60. Yeah.
60 bucks. Absolutely, I'm buying that one over this one. Yes, after tasting them blind, this one has a better taste. Value, though, I'm going with that all day, every day.
Oh, okay. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and to Aaron's point, the one thing I like to support are the craft distillers. I mean,
Love them.
Henry McKenna, they could sell it all day for $40 and make just as much as they're probably making that for $60. So, I mean, Ben Holiday is a great pour. I'd buy a bottle as well.
Gary, let me ask you this: can you walk up and go to the distillery and do they have a visitor center and tours and that sort of thing?
They do, but it's in western Missouri. It's near Kansas City.
Okay.
And I think they do tours and all that kind of stuff, but it's about 4 hours from St. Louis. So I've not been there. It's on my list to hit it one of these days. But yeah, you can tour it.
So you could go there and have also some Kansas City barbecue as well.
Well, you should eat in St. Louis, eat the barbecue in St. Louis, and then go. Yeah,
And
yeah.
Ben Holiday is, I mean, the history there is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, it's the oldest distillery west of the Mississippi. Like, it's definitely a spot after doing some research that Heather and I want to go.
170, 180 years old.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's what actually attracted me about it, and plus, he's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
He's a Kentucky native.
Okay.
And I think he was like a entrepreneur, stagecoach.
That explains a lot. He started in Kentucky.
Yeah. He started in Kentucky, and he the limestone springs and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's probably like a brother from another mother in the bourbon world. But it just happened to be
They have all the oak, they have all the limestone, all the water, all the corn.
Exactly.
And all
He
the
knew what he was
know-how.
doing, yeah.
I've got to go visit them.
Yeah.
I got to go there.
Now, doesn't Missouri have some crazy rules about being called a Missouri bourbon?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they have to follow all the federal guidelines, and then they have to be aged in a oak tree from Missouri. That law happened in 2019. I had to be distilled, aged, the whole process in Missouri. And then in 2021, they passed a law that said you can't even get corn outside the state of Missouri for it to be real Missouri bourbon. So, I mean, to be real Missouri bourbon, it's coming from Missouri. I mean, that's it. Other than their secondary grains could come from wherever, but.
Cool.
I hear some people think that that's just a big gimmick, but then I also hear that there's some people who actually live for those things. They actually travel around the world, around the country, looking for things like that.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
This mash bill for this Ben Holiday too it's 73, 15, 12. 73 corn, 15 rye, 12 malted barley. So
Cool.
high corn,
Yep.
low rye. It's sweet. I enjoy it.
It's your
I'm a
traditional
fan.
bourbon. I mean, if you thought about bourbon back in the 1800s, that was your mash bill.
That's it.
Well, there you go. In true distilled bourbon podcast fashion, we totally skirted the question whatsoever. I think we kind of all like this Missouri bourbon.
Yeah,
Is it better than Kentucky? We'll live to fight another day and see what we think. There's more than one Missouri bourbon out there, and we've got to try some more.
We'll have more coming.
All right,
Well,
Gary.
more.
Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thanks
It
for
was
inviting
so
me.
nice to have you finally in the turret. And I'm glad we hit the record button today. And with that said, please drink responsibly.